think that it's just going to get better and better. Justin Herbert, I said in the preseason leading up to this season that, you know, Justin Herbert last season, it was just an off season. I just didn't think that was going to happen. You know, even without Mike Williams being hurt, they drafted rookie Quinn Johnson. I think that he's just going to step right in. Keenan Allen, he is just being his top target. You know, Austin Eckler has been out. Who knows if he's going to be available? But if you're looking who they're going up against, it's the Las Vegas Raiders defense. And the Raiders defense is a defense that if you have an opposing quarterback, you better be starting him. So I think that Justin Herbert, coming off of a big game, I think that he continues to have these big games, especially at home. Chargers and Raiders, these are teams 1 and 2. I think whoever wins this one is back in that playoff discussion. So I think that Justin Herbert, even without the injury with Mike Williams, I think that this offense with Kellen Moore calling the plays, it's been an explosive offense. So ride with Herbert versus a Raiders defense that's been struggling. All right, let's go on now to the running back start of the week. We're going to go with Kenneth Walker III. He was absolutely insane this past week. I'd say this past week against the Carolina Panthers defense, like we were just talking about. 18 attempts, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That was 30.6 fantasy points if you're playing in PPR. He's projected in week number 4. 15.1. I think that the Seahawks offense, you know, in week number 1 really struggled against Los Angeles Rams. A lot of people are saying, where did this really come from? I thought that, the Seahawks were going to be one of those teams that were going to be sneaky in that division. But the Seahawks, we love this matchup going up against the New York Giants offense. And if you looked at the 2 running backs that they just faced, I know Kenneth Walker is not in the same flesh of CMC, but if you look at it, Tony Pollard had 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. CMC had over 100 yards and got a touchdown. I think that Kenneth Walker, he's definitely going to have his fair share, not only in the rushing game, but also in the receiving department. So going up against the New York Giants defense, the rushing attack has really struggled for the Giants in the first couple of weeks. So I think that Kenneth Walker is due for yet another big game. Let's go on now to the wide receiver start of the week. Wade, I know that I got on your bad side of sitting Rachaad White, but this week I'm on your good side. Devonte Adams.
You were right. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I was right. But 42.2, 13 receptions, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns against a tough Pittsburgh Steelers secondary. If he can do it against the Steelers, he can do it against the Chargers secondary. We've seen them, and they just haven't really been able to have any answers. There's been some injuries. So I think that Devonte Adams, he's just really quarterback prone. I mean, even if Zach Wilson was his quarterback, he would still be going off. So I think that Devonte Adams, you have to trust his elite level talent. Jimmy G is going to him because there's not really many weapons outside of them. You know, Hunter Renfrow, not really. And then also Jacoby Myers has been dealing with a hamstring injury too. So I think that Devonte Adams, I think this is going to be more of a high-scoring game. Once again, Raiders, Chargers, both of these teams really need a win. I think that Devonte Adams, I'm not going to say he gets to 42, but I think that he could definitely get over 100 yards and get a couple of touchdowns to add to his name. So Adams versus the Chargers secondary that's been exposed in the first couple of weeks. I expect Jimmy G in that passing attack to have a very good day. All right, let's get in now to the negatives, get to our quarterback sit of the week, and that is Lamar Jackson. I kind of hinted at this when we were talking about the Browns and the Ravens matchup. I just don't expect many points going into this one. You know, Lamar, we finally saw him get that rushing touchdown. He had 2 on the day, 202 passing yards, 0 passing touchdowns. I just don't think that this is a game that you don't really feel comfortable of starting Lamar Jackson. If you have somebody else behind him that you feel comfortable on, that would definitely bench Jackson. But if you don't really have any other options, then you just have to go with him. But going up against a Browns defense that has been one of the best, I think that, you know, Lamar Jackson, he's an elite level talent at quarterback. He's still going to give you that rushing ability, but I just don't think that there's going to be many passing yards to share. So I think that there's not going to be many points, not many touchdowns. So I am benching Lamar Jackson this week against a tough Browns defense. Running back sit of the week. Let's keep this going. Go with another big name, Joe Mixon. Mixon is currently playing right now. Not sure what he's been doing. Whenever this video goes out, you'll probably know if he either lost or won your fantasy matchup. But the Bengals get another tough week going up against the Tennessee Titans. If you have a running back going up against the Tennessee Titans, bench him. I don't care what level of talent that you have at the running back position. The Tennessee Titans are one of the best rushing defenses in the league. Joe Mixon in this Bengals offense has been struggling. If they can continue to do it this tonight against the Los Angeles Rams, I don't expect them to do it against the Tennessee Titans. I expect this one to be a low-scoring game. So Mixon, just put him on the bench for this week and wait for a better matchup in the coming weeks. The next one was a guy that I would never thought that I would have on my sit, but that is Garrett Wilson. Just can't really start him this week. Not only was Zach Wilson just not really being effective through the air, he got 9.8 fantasy points, 5 receptions, 48 yards. That's okay. But where you really drafted him, Garrett Wilson, was a borderline first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick. So the Jets get another tough matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs secondary has been one of the most underrated forces in the league. The Jaguars struggled to pass. The Bears struggled to pass with them. Really, no offense has had any problems. So I think with Garrett Wilson, with the struggles of Zach Wilson, pair that with a really stout Chiefs secondary, you got to sit Garrett Wilson this week.